You know, and I'm going, I know him, and then he looks at me and goes,
But you're
yes, yes, but you're
That's a story, man. That's a story, man.
I know, you're taking everything away, so I have to go ahead and talk about.
Yes, I'm a thief and it's fun.
I'm proud that William Shatner called me old.
Being older beats the alternative.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Well, I guess we're going to get started a few minutes early. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In case you don't know us, we are Nerds on the Couch. We have a Facebook page and we have a YouTube channel. And this is our first panel show that we're doing.
Of us alone, that is.
Yeah, basically alone. Normally on our shows and all that, we project on our YouTube show. We have discussions on news, events, and anything that's worth knowing. People jump on our YouTube channel and they can discuss it. And what we're here today for is that, of course, we're at the Sun City Sci-Fi. We want to talk about movies that inspire us to go beyond. And we kind of came up with this topic because, of course, we have the awesome Nichelle Nichols here with us. And if you haven't seen her, of course, why are you here if you're not here?
They want to see the fantastic people in Berlin.
Oh, of course, yes.
And us, of course.
Yeah. Well, Vern Troyer. Okay, Vern Troyer is here.
And also some of them want to see the Yellow Ranger.
Hey, she's an awesome lady.
I know.
She's real awesome. But Nichelle Nichols, if you haven't had a chance to speak to her, of course, her panels after hours, she is completely awesome, super lady, super lady. And when Ian, the owner, talked to us about having a panel and coming here, we had to say, you know what, this is an inspiration. And we have to talk about sci-fi movies that inspire us. And we want to give you guys a brief history lesson before we get to Nichelle Nichols. What sci-fi does for us. Because, come on, we all love sci-fi, right? You know. And again, if you don't love sci-fi, what are you doing here?
My boyfriend brought me here.
That's your story.
I know.
His fiance has no idea what we do.
She has an idea.
Dude, she looks bored beyond anything.
No, she is.
She's bored.
She enjoyed herself a little.
Anyway, one of the first films we want to bring up here is 1927. We had one of the most iconic films called Metropolis. And this one, I'll show you a brief glimpse of it, was, again, it's a black and white movie. If you have the patience, you need to have some tolerance for watching it. Because it's 2 hours, you can catch it on YouTube. But if you see it right now in the video behind us, there was a lot. You can see a lot of future tech that already seen. This is the film where sci-fi special effects are coming in. The first female robot comes in. I know, David, that's
Actually, it was actually the first robot in films. The other thing about this movie, you know, though it has all of these sci-fi elements in it, floating cars and stuff like that, it's the aesthetic. It is the imagery that has stayed with us throughout sci-fi movies. A lot of the practical effects they used in this movie, they haven't changed.
And they brought up common themes. I mean, the basic plot of it is a female robot decides to control the mass population. The robot disguises herself as a human female, starts subverting our government. You know, it's kind of Terminator, it's kind of RoboCop, it's kind of, you know, they brought all these ideas coming in. And so this movie alone inspires people to kind of realize, you know, we can build robots. We got flying cars. We can do all this cool stuff with it. And visually, again, it's shocking. I recommend, again, it's free to watch on YouTube. You just got to have a little patience. There's versions they did with dialogue. It's a black and white, but there's dialogue versions behind it.
And I definitely strongly go ahead and suggest it. The other thing is that throughout the ages of sci-fi, sci-fi has often been our conscience and in regard to society. What can we do? What should we do?
Which is leading us to our next film. Again, we're talking about 1956. And this one we've watched a million times. And if you haven't, they play it on AMC, the Turner Classic Movies.
All the
and
time.
That. We're talking about a classic called Forbidden Planet, which stars Leslie Nielsen, yes, from Police Squad.
Police Squad, comedian.
The comedian.
And
He's my hero.
And the thing is this, I would go ahead and say this is the first, let's say, prototype for Captain Kirk himself.
Yeah, and basically, yes, you saw a quick glimpse of it. This is the first UFO type movie. This is the one where people are doing beyond. It's basically a reinterpretation of Shakespeare's The Tempest. And of course, this is where George Lucas gets the idea for the scrolls. George Lucas was a little kid, and he saw this, and he was like, oh, what can I, later on when he went to film school, what can I do?
And like we said, there's nothing more epic than that scrolling dialogue just coming like this.
One of the other things about this film is that it also brought us one of our most iconic images that was originated in this, it's Robbie the Robot.
Yep.
And then reimagined for one of my favorite classic TV shows, which is, Twilight Zone's good, but the thing is that I'm talking about Lost in Space.
Oh yeah.
And I would say this film inspired Star Trek, Star Wars, almost every single sci-fi film after this has some connection with Forbidden Planet.
And that's not the part that makes this movie so intriguing. I mean, it has its guns, it has its laser guns, it has all that. But
The pretty girl and
the pretty girl. But one of the biggest intriguing things was what it talked about the human mind and what evils are underneath this surface that are there, but we just don't acknowledge it.
Going ahead and coming in just a moment there, we go ahead and have Robbie there.
Robbie the Robot is an iconic character.
He's my hero.
They recycled this robot so many times. He came out in Lost in Space a few times.
Yes, he did.
And, they have it at the Hollywood Museum, which they're rebuilding in the Sci-Fi Museum over there.
Not many people realize, but the special effects in this film were the first ones really, really intensive. They spent a lot of money, and it was Disney Animation Studio that actually did them.
And if you see it, of course, it's groundbreaking that the director decided, I want lights on everything. Let's do lights on everything. And of course, later J.J. Abrams went crazy with it when he did the Star Trek remake.
Flare.
Yeah.
Flares lights at you. But this guy decided, that in the future we're going to have lights everywhere.
Which we're in, but we don't see lights.
Yeah. And one thing about this before we switch over is that this inspired kids. At the time, this is the 50s. This is where Sputnik is coming in. This is where, people are now getting afraid. This is where people are first going to not yet going to the moon, but thinking about it, the NASA and all that. And they saw this, and again, young scientists are realizing, we can go to the moon. We can do all this. And this is the idea where the heroes and the bad guys and all that are coming in. And of course, you kind of see it. George Lucas he must have watched this movie a million times.
Yeah, you got the blast doors in here,
Yeah,
the blast doors.
The blast doors, yes. And one of the other things is that, the enemy in this is not some alien from outer space, but actually it's us.
Yeah. And the next one, I have to bring up, this is one of my favorite genres. It started in 1954. It's still going on, ladies and gentlemen. He's never gone away. Now I'm talking about the classic Godzilla. He holds a special heart. I mean, because
he's got to go Godzilla. I love that.
History shows again and again.
Yeah. Godzilla, you gotta feel bad for the Japanese people. This is a reaction of Hiroshima having atomic bombs coming down on them. And somewhere along the way, they saw radiation. They saw how bad.
Sorry.
All right. You don't stop Godzilla, he just talks. But this is a reaction out of nuclear. We started realizing, wow, nuclear radiation. People, scientific reports are coming out about what radiation does and the horrible effects of it. And yes, there were monster movies in America and all that, but nobody did it like Godzilla. because they said, okay, how bad can radiation go? Well, it's going to hit a lizard and it's going to make a billion times bigger and he's going to destroy us. Which,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
they kind of set up the conditions for a few years ago, but you know, it is a reaction. And as kids, again, you know, there used to be theaters here in El Paso as a kid, and they would show Godzilla on Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons, and I loved it. I grew up on this, and I root for the monsters. You know?
I mean,
Wrestling.
I know this when I went to school, you know, I was in elementary school, and this is the last day of school, we would go ahead and bring all of the kids in. They can't do it anymore because of, you know, lawsuits and all that. Bring all the kids into the auditorium, and I actually was the one that provided the video to go ahead and show, which was one of my favorites, corny as heck but fun, Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Which
And
they announced they're doing a
A
remake.
remake, yes. They're making a remake.
If Hollywood just thinks of it, they can remake anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, we hope that it's actually gonna occur and all that, but the thing is that, I mean, you know, to see all of the kids, this is 1970s, they're still
Yeah.
in love with Godzilla, no matter how old, you know, what age it is, you know, you show kids Godzilla, they're gonna go ahead and get mesmerized.
Well, I want to move. We're getting to a little bit more modern times, and I have to bring up this one came out in 1979. People will say, well, this is a TV show, Renee. No, ladies and gentlemen, it was first released in theaters, and I'm talking about Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And in case you didn't know, it had a theatrical beginning, which of course you all remember the dun 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 dun, you know, coming in and all this. And the classic shot of Gil Gerard frozen and spinning. But, you know, this is now, in the 70s, we started thinking about the future. We started thinking, you know, there was fear of nuclear war. There was fear of the environment. There was fear that, of course, we're going to mess ourselves up at this point. And so the sci-fi that came out at around this time is exactly what Buck Rogers was. That there was a future, we radiated ourselves, we messed ourselves up, and somehow we survived. There's always that hope. You know, there is always that hope. And I always consider that a positive trait of the human spirit, that yes, we do have these issues, yes, we do have problems, but man, we will overcome them somehow. And we end up in the sparkly weird land with weird disco music. You know?
Where's my disco?
And Twiggy, yeah, here comes the disco.
Yeah,
Not
the
that
disco.
version.
And of course, you know, Felix Silva as Twiggy with the bitty bitty bitty,
Bitty, bitty, bitty.
which is,
I didn't even know this song had words to it, but when
Yeah.
I saw this, I'm like,
yeah, this is like complete 70s messed up movie intro thing. And of course, Erin Gray was such a lovely lady.
Oh, yes.
oh yeah, she was
Oh,
really
yes.
cool, too.
Yeah, and they told her, when you asked her, well, what about the intro? They're like, well, they put me in a silver suit, and they told me to pose sexy in these weird purple glasses. And it's like, okay. And the preview and all that can be seen on YouTube. And so again, this is just a typical 70s reaction to sci-fi.
Along with that, you know, you had movies like, you know, at the time, Logan's Run, which actually was a short-lived series.
Yeah, it was
as well.
a short-lived series.
And, you know, you have a lot of this, you know, perfect society,
Yeah.
or is it perfect?
But then, moving on.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, the film era of 1977, and it ended in 1983. And some of you already know these dates because I think they affected our childhood more than anything. And even now, it's coming back. And of course, you know, we do have to talk about, you know, Star Wars. I mean, if you don't know Star Wars, again, what are you doing here?
Well, they're Star Trek fans.
Well, there's a shirt, never tell me the odds. Then there's a Star Wars shirt right over there.
George Lucas saw all this, okay? Understand something. George Lucas was a kid in California. He watched these sci-fi movies. He saw the heroes. He saw Forbidden Planets. He saw all this stuff. And the genius of him was that he put it all together and he gave us the most beautiful, visual, exciting sci-fi we've ever had.
of course, also he's bringing back something that was already there, which is what is called the space opera, in which he's inspired by, you know, Flash Gordon from the serial days.
Oh, yeah, everything.
And
everything.
of course, after this came out, they went ahead and came out with Flash Gordon the movie.
Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, with Queen doing the great
Hey,
soundtrack.
dude, we can go ahead and put Flash to this.
But these
Yeah.
three films, when they came out, it was just groundbreaking. I mean, it affects everything.
Before this time, the thing is that execs and studios never thought that a sci-fi movie could actually make money. At that time, they thought, okay, science fiction, basically, you put money into it, it's never, you know, people aren't going to go to it. And Star Wars went ahead and busted that myth to no ends.
Yeah. And we all had our era, you know, as we grew up now. This is our generation. You know, we grew up watching these movies. I was a couple of years old. I watched it later. And it affected my childhood. You know, Luke Skywalker became my hero. Han Solo became my hero. I wanted to date Princess Leia.
You had the monitos. You had the little monitos going like this.
Yeah. Puberty kicked in with Slave Leia.
Yeah, I mean, really, yes.
We don't want
And sci-fi conventions have never been the same.
But the thing is that, I mean, you know, my generation, actually, I was there on opening day, you know, waited the mile-long line to get inside, had to go ahead and sit in the aisle seat. And believe me, we were stunned. And at that time, everybody wanted the
Cowboys.
Princess Leia from, you know, the original, you know, all in white. And, yes. You might like the Slave Leia, I would still go ahead and take her in the white dress.
Oh, come on.
I
I'd kiss her in the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, you would?
It doesn't matter which costume you want her in.
But
We
of
all had a
course-
Leia fixation.
But of course, coming in, we have to talk about the other side, the other awesome sci-fi series. Of course, it started in TV, and because of Star Wars and all that, the movies, Paramount Studios said, we gotta bring it back. And I'm skipping over Star Trek the Motion Picture, because everybody skips over Star Trek the Motion Picture.
I don't, I liked it.
The gray
That's an
70s
argument.
suits and all that kind of thing.
That's an
To
argument.
me,
for that.
Star Trek came in, and that's what I'm saying. Star Trek came in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. This was the defining moment for Star Trek, because the first one came out, they kind of realized that, okay, yes, it really, okay, we made money because it's Star Trek, everybody wanted to see Kirk, Spock, Lieutenant Uhura back, you know, with the whole cast. But critically, it didn't get that much praise. And so luckily, Paramount Studios said, okay, the people want to see it. Let's give them what they want. Let's give them Star Trek. Let's give them what they want to see. And that's why they did Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, where they redid everything and they realized, okay, what makes Star Trek good? Part of it is the characters. Part of it makes the conflict. And people always debate Star Wars, Star Trek.
I love both.
Why?
Oh, Harry Leonard Nimoy gets done.
Yeah. I guess
Yes.
that guy.
But hearing, what makes, you can like both. That's the thing, people, I want to emphasize. You could love both, because Star Trek is the characters. That what makes Star Trek beautiful. Captain Kirk, William Shatner, is an awesome character.
You're right.
You know-
Slave Girl, the one from the Tribble Planet.
Hey, the Orion slave girls come on.
Yes.
And of
Okay,
course,
this-
the adventure. This is why we post it now, because Star Trek has never left us. Once it got into us, yes, we had Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, which, okay, we can argue. It was pretty good. The Voyage Home, again, with the whales, okay. It has like the ups and downs. I don't want to talk about the Final Frontier. Looking for God and all that.
But the thing is this about Star Trek, both in movies and also on TV. Number one, since it first came out in 1963, or no, 62, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, you have not seen a year that does not have Star Trek on TV at all. And it may not, it's in syndication, going ahead and doing all of that.
and I believe there should be new episodes coming out. And if you really do want new episodes, they're coming out online. Go ahead and look up Star Trek Continues, which I think really carries on the full spirit.
Yes, there's again fan subs, which Michelle Nichols will probably bring. She participated in some.
Yes.
Yeah, Star Trek
Renegades.
Phase 2, Star Trek well, we make friends with Ed McNoja, who plays Captain Kirk in Star Trek Continues, and you know, he is completely enthralled because people again watch this and they never leave it. It stays with you. That's why we're here at the Sun City Sci-Fi. That's why we go to fans, because we love this stuff. We love Star Wars. We love Star Trek. And it's the love, you know, that keeps bringing us here.
Well, I mean, we have the phrase, we're all nerds here.
Yeah, that's our catchphrase. And again, right now, I know we're all sitting here. We're all nerds here. And shifting it a little bit,
There is a darker side.
1979, we hit the dark side with one of the most iconic, I'll just say downright scariest sci-fi movie, Alien.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
They've tried to recreate it, but they've never been able to go ahead and recreate the tension, the absolute isolation, horror, you cannot run,
Well, this
you can
movie-
only hide for a
This
little while.
movie was groundbreaking because they decided to combine the genre of horror with an alien creature. And you're dealing with the unknown. You're dealing with completely, again, you're isolated, you're in a spacesuit, and there's a creature out to get you. And what do? And part of the beauty of it was that you never fully saw the alien until almost the end of the movie. You saw pieces of it, you saw that, you know, the drool and the spitter thing.
And it keeps on changing. The other thing about Alien is that it always defied any attempts that you tried to make to go ahead and control or to contain it.
And then they came up with the brilliant story thing. It's like, you can't shoot it because apparently it has acid for blood. And so, you know, he'll drill a hole right on your ship and all that. The artwork of H.R. Giger was completely amazing. And, you know, before we leave it, I gotta tell you, the sequel was James Cameron. To me, was a masterpiece. James Cameron did a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well, again, Sigourney Weaver came back, they're on the planet, you had the Marines shooting the alien, but it wasn't horror, it was a really good action movie.
Yeah.
And it is the birth of the action film in regards to sci-fi survival action.
Yeah.
We've had it since, you know, in various guises, not only in the Alien series. One of the other things about Alien is that it,
And
especially
even-
for men, it scared us, you know, that something can go ahead and ingest into us. Women have had this whole bit, but now it's a man, and it's not good.
And,
Honey, I'm pregnant.
of course, the two scenes, and I gotta say before we leave it, the two scenes that stand out, of course, is when John Hurt's having the chest hugger come out. And,
You know what's interesting is they did not tell them what was going on.
Yeah.
They did not tell them what was going to go on. They completely unaware when they had that scene. John Hurt was the only one that actually knew this thing was going to bust out of his chest. One of the girl, you know, you
The girl,
see
she
the
gets
reaction.
splurted with the blood. She's like,
The blood goes in and spurts on her face, and she have this, you know, absolute face of horror and shock and going, what's going on? It's not acting. Their reactions were real because they did not know this thing was going to go on.
before, and then on the other side, we had the horror, the other side, and I consider this sci-fi. This is a whole mix of genres. I'm talking about 1984's Ghostbusters, which again, if you say you haven't seen it, the young Ghostbusters out there, Manny will slap you. You know, I know he's out there doing the song and dance, but Ghostbusters has always stayed with us. This one was everything. It's sci-fi because they realized, hey, how do we stop ghosts? Technology. And what's scarier, you know, than ghosts? Well, you know, let's bring in Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and all these great comics at the time, and we're gonna fight, you know, beat up these ghosts. This was part groundbreaking because they realized, you know, not only is horror and sci-fi can be really good with great, awesome special effects, we can make it funny. We can make it hilarious.
they slide me.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand too, that at the time when the movie came out, you know, these guys were the top comedians of their time. They absolutely were the top. And when they said, hey, they're doing ghosts, everybody in Hollywood thought, oh my God, this is gonna be the dumbest movie ever. And, you know, this is why there wasn't merchandising. This is why there was no Ghostbuster toys. This was, you know, everybody in Hollywood thought it was gonna be a flop. And so, when they actually did it and you saw how awesome it was, when I was a kid, I saw it like 5 times.
I went to a sneak preview, my uncle was there, and they were throwing marshmallows. He said, this means something. They wouldn't do it if they didn't mean something. So you had this marshmallow all the way through the movie. And then it comes to the time of the marshmallow state, the state of Marshmallow Man comes out, and he's like looking at it going, ah.
That's why I was holding on
But
to this.
the thing is this, you will never forget, are you a god? No.
The whole movie
Then
can be.
die.
You can quote the whole movie anywhere. You know, anybody seen
Ray.
a ghost?
You know, Ray, the next time someone asks you if you're a god,
You
you say yes.
Let me in, let me see if I have a dog bone in the pocket.
Well, one thing too, I just noticed, when we talked about aliens and Ghostbusters, Sigourney Weaver has one of the best agents in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to be in both of these films.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta give praise to, again, the director, which again, Ivan Reitman. The writer, Dan Aykroyd, again, you know, they believed in it when nobody else can. Of course, there's a remake now with an all-female cast, and I'm kind of like, you know.
I don't know if it's, I'm willing to go ahead and be with an open mind.
Well,
I don't.
our catchphrase is,
Don't
ladies and
forget the
gentlemen.
past.
No, our catchphrase is, you know we're gonna be in line to see it.
Yeah.
You know, that's always our thing
Yeah,
that we
but
do.
don't forget the past. I mean, if they forget the old Ghostbusters, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
And of course, an honorable mention.
In 3 days,
Yeah,
it's gonna be
okay,
here.
wait.
3
yeah,
days.
Where are
3
you
days,
guys gonna
ladies
go?
and gentlemen.
Everybody should be going to Hilldale on Wednesday. On Wednesday, you need
Hill
to be
Valley.
there.
Hill Valley.
Hill Valley, that's right. You
Yeah.
need to go ahead and be Hill Valley, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a few days from now. We're all, we all
Where's my
have to hold our,
hoverboard?
we have to take
I want
out
my
our-
hoverboard.
I want my hoverboard, I want my car, I want my
The
fusion
Nikes,
reactor.
you can't forget the Nikes, man.
I want my Nikes.
With
Nikes are
coming out.
I want some.
I want Mr. Fusion. I'm sick and tired of paying for gas.
Yeah.
Where's Mr. Fusion? I want to go ahead and put my, you know, banana peels in my Mr.
And
Fusion.
oh my God, the Cubs actually have a chance of winning too.
Actually, just to let you know, they actually did
That's
win.
already
They
did,
broke
yes.
they already broke the streak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but here they actually won. They won the
And,
championship.
and really, you know, where's
Now-
Jaws 13, Spielberg? Come on.
Now, I used to say if the director had clairvoyance enough, instead of saying Jaws 7, it should have said Star Wars Episode 7. All of us right now would be going like, wow. But no, he missed it because, again, Jaws is actually real now, and so we all should be afraid of it when we go out to the ocean. They did find a shark that's
Yeah.
as big as Jaws.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we joked enough, this movie again was groundbreaking in itself. You know, when we talked about time travel, we talked about going to the future. Flying, people ask me too, where's the flying cars? And I'm like, we do have them, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
They do have the technology to make flying cars.
But you gotta fill out the flight itinerary, it's too much.
Well, actually, I keep telling people, it's like, well, if you did, I mean, can you imagine you're chilling out, watching TV in your living room, and oh my God, it crashes. You know, a car runs out of gas, drunk drivers hitting buildings all over the place.
Dogs and cats living together.
And, you know, and always again, you know, there's some things that they always miss. They forgot to show everybody on their cell phones and.
Yeah. But no,
That's for
Star
Star
Trek.
Trek.
Star
That's for
Trek
Star
got
Trek.
that.
I want my
We have
shiny
that
hat.
from Star Trek.
I basically want my shiny hat.
And also I want the jacket that'll go ahead and dry itself. Auto dry on.
Yeah.
And as we reach the end, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I do want to remind that sci-fi continues. Sci-fi is never going to away. Even with superheroes that take over movies now and all that, it's still sci-fi. Superman is sci-fi. You know, the Avengers and all that is sci-fi.
One of the things that I like is that it used to be, when I was young, And back in 1980, I fell in love with the TV show that was on PBS called Doctor Who.
Yep.
I started
Oh, I still love
with Tom Baker. I started with Tom Baker. All throughout high school, I would go ahead and wear a scarf even when it was hot, and
Who are you?
no one could understand that. And what I like is that being a nerd, going ahead and being a fanatic of these shows used to be, something shunned upon. The jocks would go ahead and laugh at you for it, if you
Just to
went
show
ahead
you my
and,
wallpaper.
yeah, and the thing is that nowadays I love the fact that it's cool to go ahead and be a Doctor Who fan in high school. And, all these kids, except for a couple of them don't know anything. I have my, my sonic screwdriver on my desk, and somebody asked
Before
me,
we
is that a
leave, ladies and
lightsaber?
gentlemen, our time is coming up, but I want us all to say, we are all nerds here, ladies and gentlemen. We are all nerds here. One more time. We are all nerds here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're Nerds on the Couch. Stay tuned for Nichelle Nichols' panel. It'll be at 1 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like us on Facebook and catch our YouTube channel.
Thank you for coming. And don't leave, Nicole Nichols will be here, I don't know how soon.
I think that's why they're here.
You should have had more than a half hour for this one, I think.